Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Starfield. Now, if you've been living under a rock for the last week, you might have missed it, but Starfield has actually received a huge marketing push over the last couple of days. As a matter of fact, just earlier today, a brand new music track was released from Imagine Dragons, which was entirely created for Starfield. I'm not going to be able to play that track in this video because of copyright concerns, naturally, but I thought that was pretty cool. Let me know what you think about that. Do you like Imagine Dragons? Do you not like Imagine Dragons? Do you like the track that was released? Do you not? I thought that was pretty cool. But basically, I figured that today would be a good day for me to check out what the discourse is around Starfield. Basically get the old vibe check, because tomorrow, most likely, I'm going to be streaming the game. I believe I'm going to be receiving a code from Bethesda. I've been told that I was going to receive a code for the deluxe edition or whatever so that I could, create content, do all of that stuff. But even if I don't, I'm going to buy the game. I made the decision that I was going to check out the game regardless of code access or not when I watched the gameplay footage and the commentary from the developers that you are seeing in the footage that's running in the background right now. This is from the Starfield Direct, which was showcased during the Xbox presentation on what used to be the E3 week. Now it is known as the Summer Games Fest week because Jeff Keighley took E3 out back behind the shed and put a bullet in it. But when I watched that presentation, I was like, okay, initially my thoughts on Starfield, I was just thinking to myself, okay, this is going to be kind of like Fallout in space, right? That's going to be the thing. You're going to be in first-person mode, going to be doing Bethesda RPG things, and basically the space part of it is going to be one big loading screen of you going from one planet to another, maybe with a cutscene accompanying it. However, when I saw this gameplay footage, it's like, no, there's going to be space travel, there's going to be space combat, and I was like, all right, space game, lots of RPG stuff, even though Bethesda has kind of like done me a little bit dirty with Fallout 76 and whatnot, because that thing had quite a few bugs, and the quests were basically messages from people that were dead, which was kind of weird, even though I enjoyed it at the start, but still, I soured on the experience after a while. I'm like, you know what, I'm willing to give it another shot, mostly because space. I'm a huge fan of space, sci-fi stuff around space. Like, I grew up with Star Wars, basically. Always been a huge fan. And the interesting thing is that even in Star Wars, I liked the space combat stuff more than necessarily like lightsaber duels and all of that. But regardless of that, I definitely see that there's a lot of potential for a game here that I might enjoy. Maybe I'll enjoy it, maybe I don't enjoy it. I don't know where I stand yet, but I do know that regardless of that, I want the game to do well. I never want the game to come out and be like, yeah, I hope this game is miserable. I hope nobody likes playing it. I hope it is terrible. I never look at things that way, regardless if it's an exclusive to Xbox or an exclusive to PlayStation or an exclusive to PC. Doesn't matter to me. I want good games to do well. I want more people to enjoy good games. If it was up to me, everybody would be able to enjoy every game. And that's the thing that I say whenever I talk about exclusives, whether it is from PlayStation, PC, or Xbox, or whatever. I always look at it that way. I wish everybody would get to play all the games. That would be much more interesting than people arguing over which of their box is the prettiest, which, curious enough, that is kind of like the first point of discourse when it comes to Starfield. There is a huge amount of people on the internet that are basically playing favorites with their favorite toy box where they play their video games. Because make no mistake, that's essentially what it is. I mean, look, I play most of my games on console as well. I'm no stranger to that. But at the end of the day, a console is just a device wherein you play the video game. That's it. It's just the box that sits there. Doesn't matter if it's an Xbox. Doesn't matter if it's a PlayStation. Doesn't even matter if it's a gaming PC or a Nintendo Switch. It is basically your favorite box. And this seems to be a big part of the discourse. There's people saying that, like, PlayStation ain't got no good games, Starfield is the best. And then there's people saying, ooh, Starfield's gonna be so fucking broken on release and it's gonna be terrible. Oh my God. And it's just that type of discourse is so incredibly tiring. And look, I want you to understand something here, okay? I'm saying this as someone who received both a PlayStation 5 as well as a PSVR 2 from PlayStation Portugal. For review purposes and for coverage purposes, I've received both of those items. And I still am going like, bro, I hope Starfield's amazing. I'm going to be playing it on PC. Makes me wish I had an Xbox, to be honest, because usually I prefer playing games on Xbox, but, you know, there's only so much room that I can have in my studio, and there's not that much reason for me to own one because I can play most of the stuff on PC, which I'm not saying is a good thing or a bad thing. It is what it is. But ultimately, I feel like, why can't people just be like, oh, it's a game that's coming out, looks pretty friggin' awesome. Let's all hope for the best. I'm not saying get hype, pre-order, buy now, do all the things, but I am saying at least let's hope the game is good. But, you know, the discourse, whenever it comes to console wars, I just think it's so friggin' stupid. But interestingly enough, it gets a lot of traction on Twitter because that's been one of the things that I've seen the most. Whether it is people from PlayStation crapping all over it, or whether it's people from Xbox elevating it to the nth degree and also crapping all over PlayStation. It's a weird thing to me. Like, it's one of those situations where it's just, I cannot relate. Okay, look, I just want people to enjoy good video games, so I hope the video game is good, and I hope I get to enjoy it, and I hope everybody else gets to enjoy it too. Okay, there's a lot of people that are going like, oh, I hope this crashes and burns. That's such a stupid mindset to have. Why would you want a game to be bad? Just don't get it. I don't understand. But anyways, following up with that, there's been a lot of leaks when it comes to Starfield. And that, like I said earlier in the video, is one of the things that I kind of like try to steer clear of. I don't want to be getting spoiled by leaks, okay? I want to play the video game. I want to experience it for myself. I want to see the story. I want to get surprised when something interesting happens in the game. But one of the leaks that I think is interesting to discuss is the whole boundaries thing. So apparently some of the people who have somehow gotten early access to the game, whether that is through illicit means or whether somebody has a review code and they're just blatantly leaking stuff, whatever. Somebody apparently went into a tile in a planet and they started running for 10 minutes trying to see the limitations of the procedural generation, because the game does have some procedural generation. And apparently the game is somewhat divided by tiles. Again, this is from leaks, so take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt. But people are saying, oh, if I go all the way to the edge, then they don't let me progress anymore. And it's like, yeah. Have you played a Bethesda game before? Like, you're not playing something like a No Man's Sky, which, by the way, is a fantastic game that I also love. I think No Man's Sky is absolutely phenomenal. But I think that if you're coming to a game like Starfield, you're coming to that game for different reasons than the reasons that you would go to something like a No Man's Sky. And I can tell you right now that the people who make No Man's Sky are most likely going to be playing Starfield because they also want to enjoy the game. People like to look at gaming as this zero-sum game where in order for someone to win, somebody else has to lose. And sometimes I feel like even in the gaming creator sphere, there's also a little bit of that where people are like, no, in order for me to win, you must lose, and I want this thing to be successful and that thing to not be. It's such a weird thing to me because, you know, you can have both situations where you have, you know, a bunch of games that are just good and that's it, you know. But anyways, in regards to this boundary situation, I don't care. I don't care that there's like a limitation to the amount of stuff. Do you think I'm jumping into a Bethesda game to go run out in the wilderness for I don't know how long and to see random mountains and stuff? No, I'm going to be going to the the locations that have something to do. Obviously, I'm also going to be going to some locations that are going to be completely off the beaten path just for exploration purposes and to see what I can find there. But by no means do I expect to, have an experience like No Man's Sky on a Bethesda game. That's not the reason I go to a game like this. I go to a game like this to explore the decisions and the repercussions of the decisions that I will make in the game and to see what ends up happening based on the decisions that I've made and to see what I can change in the world, but also to basically make a badass Millennium Falcon, go into space, and hopefully do a little bit of space trucking too. I think that'd be cool. I don't remember if in this video they talk about something like space trucking, which for those of you that don't know what that is, space trucking would be like you go to a place, you buy a bunch of commodities, and then you take it to a place where those commodities are rare and you sell it and you make money. Space trucking is actually something that I enjoy doing quite a bit, which, by the way, is also one of the reasons why I enjoyed Death Stranding, where apparently a lot of people didn't, because I just saw it as a different version of space trucking, kinda. But yeah, to me, the whole tiles and boundaries discussion is just like, bro, whatever, who cares? So long as the actual portions that are made for you to have an RPG experience are good, the rest of the planets is going to be places that you go in to collect resources. And do you really need an infinite tile set that is most likely going to cause the game to explode due to the amount of detail that Bethesda puts into their games? I don't know. Either way, we'll see how that particular situation pans out. Then another thing that I've been seeing a lot, and this is something that I've even experienced on recent streams, is people basically saying they're comparing Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield. Again, doing the whole thing of making it into a zero-sum game where it's like, in order for Baldur's Gate to succeed, Starfield must fail, or in order for Starfield to succeed, Baldur's Gate must fail because there can only be one game of the year. And it's like, this is such a... The more I look up internet discourse, the more I just feel like I get a serious case of brain rot. Luckily, that's not all the discourse you found. There's actually quite a few individuals that are like, hey, you know, I don't have an Xbox, but I hope that the game's amazing and all of that stuff. There's also the positive, right? There's also some positive interactions. There's also some people who are willing to give the game a shot. And there's, you know, not everything is negative, but this whole zero sum and the constant comparison of one game versus another, it's just frustrating. And again, it's something that I've experienced on a stream even recently, where somebody came up and just started saying, thank God Starfield's releasing soon. I'm so tired of watching these Baldur's Gate live streams. And it's like, it makes me wonder, you mean that there's somebody like physically sitting you on a chair and then tying you up and forcing you to watch Baldur's Gate streams? These are such weird things that you run into on the internet that is just completely insane. But either way, none of them really affect how I feel about the game. It's just some of the things that I've seen people talk about. And I'm actually curious to hear from you guys. What have you heard about Starfield up until this point? Please don't hit me up with, like, you know, stuff that is too specific, because I want to still stay kind of like in that unknowable zone so that I can enjoy the game and I can be surprised by whatever happens in the game, and that'll be interesting to see. But just curious, if what has the discourse been for the people that you've talked with or the people that you interact with online? How's that gone for you? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, one final note. You know how Starfield has that little robot? They call him Vasco, which, by the way, is a reference to a famous Portuguese explorer called Vasco da Gama. Even though they call him Vasco da Gama, it's Vasco da, D-A, Vasco da Gama, okay? Get it right, because Portugal, porra! I can't say the bad word. I was going to say the bad word, but I'm Portuguese, so it's nice to see some acknowledgement that the Portuguese people have always been amazing friggin' explorers. We used to be the king of the seas, goddammit! And now most people think that we're a friggin' province of Spain. So it's nice when we get a little bit of acknowledgement, and that also kind of like reinforced me even more, being like, oh yeah, Vash, yeah, it's gonna be good stuff. But anyways, let me know your thoughts on Starfield, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow on the stream, because I am going to be streaming it whenever I'm allowed to stream it. So thank you all very much for watching. Stay strong, stay safe, like button, subscribe, bell notification icon. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.